I was in Silicon Valley, California, San Jose, the heart of Silicon Valley. I was pastoring a church called Mountain View Central. The entire state of California was locked down for 2 years, and the Lord directed me to use those 2 years when you can't go to work and you can't go to church and you can't do anything, to pick up the Bible, pick up Daniel, pick up Revelation, pick up great controversy, and went deep in the study of God's word because I wanted to make sense of what's taking place in the world. And so the Lord has led me into the writing of this book. So I wrote the book, a stunning revelation of how current events are fulfilling Bible prophecy. Because I was very sure that COVID was in prophecy. And still very sure. Part of the chapter of this book, 16 and 17, has to do with the mark of the beast. And I wanted to explain it for a lot of people who have no idea. And as I did the research, I was blown away by some stuff that are happening. And I do not know if church members are aware of how close we are to the end. There's only one single prophecy in Bible that has not yet been fulfilled before the coming of Christ, and that is the imposition of the mark of the beast. Now, how close are we to that? I want you to get a copy of this book. It will be available for sale. It's not written for profit. Next week or so we'll get a few. We have a few copies available for sale. But this week, something happens. Something major happens. Another piece of the puzzle fall in place this week. And if you're a prophetic watcher, you would have noticed, but some people are not aware of it. All right? So you need to, when I heard about it, I get excited because we have been preaching this thing for a mighty long time. Right? But things are now falling in place. Now, something very historic happened this week. This week, the United States of America, the President of the United States of America, signed a declaration requesting a special day of rest for all Jews in America. Here we go. You all didn't see this news, did you? Trump declares national Sabbath to mark 250 years of independence. It made the headline. Trump becomes first U.S. president to call for a national Shabbat. That's the term the Jews use, because this year the United States of America is celebrating its 250th year, and the current president decided to bring back God into America, and he's celebrating with the Jews. And so, watch me. Monday of this week gone, just 4 days ago, 4 or 5 days ago, Monday of this week is when he signed that declaration, and it hit the newspapers, right? Trump becomes first U.S. president to call for a national Shabbat. Hang on. Hit another Jerusalem Post in Israel. Trump urges U.S. Jews to observe national Sabbath in honor of the 250th U.S. anniversary. Right. So what's that all about? Well, the White House put out the declaration, and I pick up one paragraph of the declaration. Here is it for you. Throughout history, throughout this historic year, we rejoice in the triumph of the American spirit and rededicate ourselves to the cause of liberty and justice for all, in special honor of 250 glorious years of American independence. And on the weekend of Rededicate 250, a national jubilee of prayer, praise, and thanksgiving, Jews, Americans are encouraged to observe a national Sabbath from sundown on May 15th, that's Friday, May 15th, to nightfall on May 16th. Friends, families, and communities of all backgrounds may come together in gratitude for our great nation. This day will recognize the sacred Jewish tradition of setting aside time for rest, reflection, and gratitude to the Almighty. Is the church with the preacher? The first time in the history of the United States of America, the United States president is calling for a national day of rest, a national Sabbath. And while it is okay, because he's asking all the Jews and Americans to rest on the true Sabbath, the problem is that he identified the Sabbath as a Jewish tradition. The Sabbath is not a Jewish tradition. The Sabbath is a divine tradition. Because the Sabbath did not start with the Jews. It started with God up in Genesis. Am I right? So here's the problem. So while it is okay with this historic declaration of the United States president, while it is okay, for those of us whose eyes are on the prophecy, we see danger lurking right here. What's the danger, brother preacher? Well, if the United States can declare a Sabbath for the Jews, then when the Christians who are not Jews but are Christian want their Sabbath, then the United States, we may have to declare a day for them.